just can't believe it. I just made the greatest video ever, and I deleted it off the camera. I can't believe it. Anyway, so it was my response video to Nick. It was a fantastic video. I was fucking with the camera. So I only got 12 minutes out of this camera, and it should do 30 minutes, and it's pissing me off. And so I was fucking around saying, was there any format function? There isn't. And I ended up deleting the damn video. It's just so fucking stupid. So now I gotta go over it again. But I really can't do it now. I can do it on the walk home. God damn it. No, whatever. That doesn't do any good. God damn it. Fuck. Yeah, that's better. Fuck. Alright, back to the video. Okay. I went for a swim. It's kind of, water was warm, so even though the air is kind of cold, it's nice. Anyway, okay. So next position is basically he's breaking philosophy down into these three categories and a sub-basement that he apparently thinks he lives in. A deep sub-basement. So anyway, he's using A, B, C, like levels. His A would be what I call pragmatic. We have to live, we got to eat, we get horny, we get hungry, we get, hurt feelings, we get a lot of things, and we have to live in a practical world, and we have to feel good enough not to blow our brains out and all that crap. And then the B philosophy would be, okay, you go a little deeper, you realize you're a psychology, that your ego is just your brain, that it's a deterministic universe, that your brain is cause and effect, how you're maturated will decide who the fuck you are. Yes, you're given a biological disposition, and even that's deterministic based on 2 billion years of evolution. And, that's the game we're in. There's no magic. There's no something that can't be explained. It's all explainable. We just need the tools to do it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then the C level would be, for him, some sort of basement, really deepness, where somehow matter is just matter. The manifestation of awareness and consciousness doesn't mean anything. That part I just don't get. Because there's no indication that he doesn't take any of it like it doesn't mean anything. Like he actually believes a universe full of kittens getting squished. It would be the same as a universe, full of, I don't know, whatever, boobs getting squished. Whatever, in a good way. But whatever. So anyway, so that's when you get really deep, though, is that you somehow negate the reality of sentience and awareness and little birds and such. So his argument is that his failure in the past is something that, I don't know, that he's trying to communicate one philosophy in an atmosphere where he has to be some other kind of philosopher. And my argument to all that crap is bullshit, just because there's one truth. And as long as we place context on our discussion, there's not a problem. So some conversations you can have based on a premise, where you disagree. But that's the whole thing, is to establish the premise. So if you just establish that you're an atheist and somebody else is a theist, well, then there's some subjects you're not going to be able to talk about rationally, and some subjects you are. So if you're debating what color's better, green or blue, well, then you're probably not going to have a problem. But if you're going to start debating how active the human race should be in modifying nature, well, then you're going to have a problem, because the God nut is going to think nature knows what it's doing because God made it. And even the non-theist atheist, who's one of these deitists or whatever the fuck they are, these guys who glorify consumption and reproduction and natural selection as if it knows what it's fucking doing, they're the same thing as a theist. But anyway, yeah, their premise is fucked. So you're not going to agree on the premise, so your conversation's going to be difficult until you argue about the premise. And the premise sort of is the truth. So you have to argue the basement philosophy. There's just no way around it, because it's critical to almost everything else. I mean, you can't even live almost even on the pragmatic level. You can't exist without going to that deep philosophy argument. Because from Nick's perspective, zillions of gallons of oil in the Gulf of Mexico doesn't matter, because pain and suffering doesn't matter, because it's all an illusion. So fuck him. So there's no point in even having a philosophical conversation with him because he says nothing matters. So fuck it. If he believes that, then just shut the fuck up. You know, eat your quiche or whatever the fuck, drink your tea and shut up if you don't think anything matters. But if you actually believe there's value in the universe, that suffering does matter, that B philosophy of recognizing that we're just psychology and that the only thing that really... Alright, now I'll get to the point here. Okay, the B philosophy is where it really is, because that's just... If you can do that part, if you can recognize what we are, which is two kinds of organism, where we've been given the attribute of sensation, motivating feelings, desires, drives, ambitions, all of that crap by the biology, because it necessitated, it pushes us through the environment. And then natural selection has also given us the tool of intelligence, this ability to model the world. All of this crap, I can model it in my head. I can analyze it. I can go up to this rock and say, "What are you up to, rock? Are you doing something?" I don't know. Okay, I guess you're okay. Yeah, and I can model it. I can put it in my brain and put it in its place and say, okay, that rock is not doing too much. But yeah, I can model all this stuff inside my head. And then on top of that, I can put me in the model. And I can recognize what I am. And I can, because I can rely on my own testimony, I can tell, oh yeah, he's scheming to get some pussy. He's scheming to do this. And I can put me in the model, and I can run me through the paces and say, well, how much stuff did I step on, and what did I kill, and what did I harm, and how did I transact or conduct myself in the world? And I can make judgments about how efficiently I did that based on some understanding of harm. Because as a sentient creature, I know what it feels like to be harmed. I don't like it. And to impose it on something else would be equally stupid and destructive. So I don't... so the intelligent, logical thing to do would be not to do that. So in a way, our intelligence, it was first just a tool for our scheming desire. Our desire wanted something. Our intelligence gave us the capacity... Sorry, pointing with pants. Yes, I'm wearing bathing things. Anyway, it gave us the ability to function in the world and to get what we wanted, what was the motivating, to satisfy the motivating desires. And so it was very productive to our evolution as individuals and as a kind. But now we have the capacity to take it a step further, to step outside of the evolutionary natural selection purpose and apply that intelligence to modeling our own behavior, to suppressing our desires when necessary, controlling our behavior. So we're no longer just using our brain as a scheming tool, we're also using it as an ethical tool, as a tool for efficient conduct. So now we don't go into the world and just rape and pillage and take whatever the fuck we want. We go into the world and analyze the circumstance and try to figure out what the best thing and the right thing to do is. And sometimes we do things that are very unpleasant to us personally, but we do them because we know intellectually that they're the right thing to do, even though it might make us sick, even though it might be very unpleasant. And that's a huge break from the natural selection, selfish gene construct, but that's the key to philosophy. The key to philosophy is breaking free of your motivating, biased, subjective, self-interested sentience, and just acknowledging that you're a sentient creature, but giving you no more value than any other equally capable or competent sentient creature. And then you become a philosopher, then you become a thinker, a real thinker, who's not using the brain as a scheming tool, but is using the brain as an understanding tool. And that's philosophy. And as long as that's the ground rules for a philosophical conversation, that we're not going to talk about what you feel. I'm not going to use words like love and all these gooey, sacred kind of bullshit terms, No, we're going to talk about real relationships and the real motivation and where does it come from and what's the evolutionary advantage over time and why does it exist that way. It's like when we had the rape discussion. Yeah, it wasn't, the obvious thing is to say, okay, the selfish organism just takes. But no, that the the intelligent perspective is to understand the context of how we evolved and understand there was a necessity to create alternative impulses that would motivate us to care for each other because we needed the group, we needed the clan, because if you went out as an individual, number one, you weren't likely to have sex with anything, and number two, you weren't as going to be equipped